Hi everyone, it's Rax bringing you another Diablo Immortal complete class guide. Last time we did the Demon Hunter, which is the one that I've played the most, and the Demon Hunter was second on my tier list. Now let's go to the number 1 on my tier list, and the class I played the second most, the Crusader. This class is so good at so many things, and the interesting thing is, in a lot of ways, the Crusader is good at everything that the Demon Hunter is not good at. They're like opposites, so when you pair them together, they're a deadly combination. So we're going to go over the overview, how to level up. We're going to go over the challenge drift guide. We're going to go over the dungeon guide. We're going to go over how to play solo, and finally we'll go into PvP. You should always start with an overview to see what their strengths and weaknesses are, to see if it's the right class for you. So what are you going to do as a Crusader? And first of all, they do massive, massive AoE damage with their pony, with consecration, with the spinning shields. Their ability to erase a room full of enemies is quite possibly the best in the entire game. It's ridiculous. In PvP, they are the best. They're crazy strong. In fact, wasn't going to do this early, but let's go to paint. Let me show you real quick what it looks like when a Crusader enters the battlefield, right? So let's say in PvP, this is you. You're the Crusader. Okay, there you are. And this is your pony. Okay, trust me. That's a pony, right? Okay, that looks like a pony. All right, let's give him a little more of a face. There we go. That's a pony. And here are the enemies that are trying to attack you, right? There they are. Now this is like a before, right? This is what it looks like as you ride in on your pony. And then at the end, here's you again on your pony. That's a pony. And then what we have here are 3 gravestones. It doesn't really matter what classes they were. And then obviously there's going to be a lot of blood from all the damage that you did to them. There's going to be blood everywhere. And you're going to be smiling over here because you just triple killed their entire team, right? So that's what Crusaders do in PvP. They get on their pony, they ride through the enemy team, and then the whole team dies. So if that sounds fun to you, then let's carry on. They give extremely good buffs. So Demon Hunters are good at AoE. Demon Hunters are the worst in PvP, whereas Crusaders are the best. Crusaders give amazing buffs with their banner and with the light buff, which can make you just burn everything down. Demon Hunters don't give any buffs. They're very, very tanky. Demon Hunters die in one hit, and they have the best movement speed, and Demon Hunters have the worst movement speed. So they're like total opposites, right? Crusaders have very long cooldowns. You're in melee, so you're going to be getting hit a lot. They don't do very good damage, whereas Demon Hunters are the best at dealing damage. PvP, it relies on one playstyle. You ride in with your pony, pentakill the whole team. It never gets old, though. And their primary attacks really suck, which is kind of a common theme in Immortal. You're relying on your skills to deal the damage. So we can cover the normal and legendary gems here. So we have the starter legendary gems and the best in slot legendary gems. It's actually kind of pointless to go over the best in slot ones because they're very, very hard to acquire. This is like going to happen like a long time in the future, and they're like the best. It's usually the same, the best gems for every class. So we'll skip the best in slot ones, and let's see the ones that we could actually reasonably get in the beginning as free-to-play players. So Everlasting Torment is God tier for pretty much every class starting out. Your critical hits inflict agony, and it does some weird numbers, but believe me, it hits really, really hard. And then it also gives you increased attack speed. Probably pound for pound, the best 1-star legendary gem that exists. Fervent Fang gives you increased damage to the same target that you keep hitting. Well, this is critical for a Crusader, right? because Crusaders are really good at blowing up the whole room, but they're really bad at killing the boss. So a gem that makes you do more damage to one target is exactly what they need. And I think you get this one from the Battle Pass. Berserker's Eye, it gives you more damage at the cost of taking more damage. That's fine. We just want to deal more damage. Lightning Core shoots out chain lightning. Probably less helpful for Crusaders than other classes because Crusaders AoE is so good already. But the chain lightning really does a lot of damage, so. And I think you get this one for free, if I remember correctly. I think you craft this in the tutorial. So you're going to have a lightning core for sure right away. Sled's Weakening. You're going to get 6% increased damage after killing an elite monster. I guess not too bad. And it's going to increase the damage that you deal to elite monsters. Not the best gem, but one of the ones that you can take in the beginning. And finally, Chain Death increases the damage done by your attacks by the number of targets that you hit. So now you can just deal more damage when you're AoEing everything down, which is exactly what Crusaders are good at, right? So those are the good starter gems that you can get, and then later on you can look at the Blood-Soaked Jades and the Seeping Biles, which just essentially delete the whole screen for you. So they have all the skills here. Let's just talk about the ones that are pretty darn good. So you get one primary attack, and you almost always use Punish. And the reason why I use Punish over Sacred Fire is Punish gives you a block chance while you use it, and the block chance is really good for surviving. And the ultimate, I think, gives you this gigantic lightsaber sword, which is really fun to use. So Punish is, as far as I know, almost always used as the primary attack. Condemn can be used in situations when you need to group stuff up, but not always taken. Conjuration of Light is super good. It's a buff, call down a beam of light. You and your allies have damage immunity for 3 seconds. That's crazy good, right? It's crazy good. So it's always used in group play. Another thing is you can take this legendary power, and now it surrounds you and your allies with Holy Fire, continually damaging all enemies. So you can essentially turn your teammates into human torches and burn everything down. Consecration is an insane AoE ability. Gather everything up, you consecrate, it does a lot of damage, it burns everything down. Super popular skill. Draw and Quarter, aka Pony. Draw and Quarter is definitely, without any argument, with no subjectivity allowed, is definitely the best skill in the game for any class. It is ridiculous. Mount a Celestial Warhorse for 6 seconds, dispelling all movement impairing effects, increasing your movement speed by 65%, replacing your primary attack with something you can use while you're riding it. Holy Chains bind up to 8 monsters and drag them with you. So let's digest this for just 1 second. You get on a pony, you move at the speed of light, you drag all enemies with you forward, you can hit them while you're moving, and once you land, they're in a nice little clump, and you can use like Falling Sword, or you can use Consecration to just instantly kill them. Now, in the alpha, Draw and Quarter was so powerful. It was so obnoxious. Everybody complained about it, and especially me. In the beta, across the board, they nerfed the skill. On launch, we've heard in the data mine, across the board, they're nerfing it again. So the question will be, after 2 gigantic nerfs, where does Draw and Quarter land? Even after I read the final version that I think is going to go live on launch, I still think it's the best skill in the game, even after 2 bone-crushing nerfs. So imagine how stupidly good it was in the alpha. It was completely ridiculous. I think it's going to have a slightly longer cooldown, and it's going to drag 2 less monsters. It's still going to be godly. There are a lot of legendary powers you can take with Draw and Quarter. Whenever you're adding power to Draw and Quarter, it's always a good thing. Falling Sword is a really, really good skill. You throw your sword somewhere, and then it does damage, and then you can teleport to that area. And there is one legendary power that instead causes you to surge forward with your sword, this can be really good as well. So this is another really popular way to play Falling Sword. Holy Banner is extremely good, gives a super nice buff. Very common to take it, and I believe it's Arrow Keeper, yes, where the Holy Banner will move with you. So again, you're noticing the Crusaders have these super good buffs. Judgment sucks. Sacred Chain can kind of be used in PvP. Shield Charge sucks. Shield Glare sucks. Sweep Attack sucks. Spinning Shield is one of the only ways for Crusaders to do meaningful damage to a boss. And Pavis of the 10 Wings, it now spirals around you, is super powerful. And there is one where it is going to stay stationary, this one. It stays at a location. When you throw your shield and it stays on the boss and keeps hitting it over and over, that's a good way to add single target damage for a Crusader, which is something that they're really lacking. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the Crusader skills. What are the good ones and what are the bad ones? For the class consumable, they have the Battle Hymn, and it increases the damage of you and your allies by 10% for 20 minutes. So if they didn't have enough buffs already, they have like the best class consumable. My God, Crusaders are crazy. For attributes, you're going to see a pretty common theme here, just like the Demon Hunter. Strength gives ORDR and damage, so it's our best stat because it also gives you damage. Next would be Fortitude, because it gives you armor and armor pen. Armor pen, think of it as critical hit damage. Okay, so damage is the best, then critical hit damage. Then would be Vitality, because it gives you extra life. It's good to live. Willpower gives potency and resistance. Potency and resistance kind of suck currently in Diablo Immortal, so it's way toward the bottom. But intelligence literally gives you nothing besides the one ORDR. So intelligence is the worst. Willpower sucks, and the other three are really good. Look for that. Look for that on your gear. For the normal gems, it's the same for every single class. Red is better than blue. Blue is better than yellow. And for the red, Tourmaline is better than ruby, because Tourmaline gives damage and ruby gives life. We want to just do more damage. Sapphire gives armor pen, just crit hit damage. So it's better than Aquamarine, which gives us armor, which just helps us live. We're just trying to deal more damage. And for the yellow gems, they both suck. Citrine sucks and Topazes suck. So whichever one is higher, just use that. Awaken stuff, that's for later. We don't need to cover that. That's long time in the future. So here is the full Paragon tree for a Crusader. Remember that when you're leveling up a Paragon tree, you have to hit the check mark for which tree you want to use their active nodes from. The circle things are passive. You always have the buffs, no matter what. But the square ones are active nodes, and they only are active if you have it selected in the tree and you have this checked. Okay? So pretty much, we don't have to go through this. Don't need to take all of your time. It shows you the full path here. But the theory crafted path here up to Paragon 199, which is going to take you months to hit, it just is going to take the highest damage, okay? The most damage you can possibly get. The damage nodes are very important. That's what we're seeking, along with a bunch of good actives. So I'll let you walk through this, but it's pretty much just the path to Paragon 199 that's going to give you the most damage, okay? That's the Paragon tree. All right, now we're ready to get into some builds. So the most important build is, what do you do when you're leveling up? Let's take the slider and start at level 1. So at level 1, you have Punish. That's your best primary, so you already got the best primary. Spinning Shield is pretty good. Again, if you can get that stationary shield, the one that holds it in place, and throw it on a boss, that is one way for you to get some single target damage. Shield Glare sucks. We're going to get rid of this right away. Sweep Attack sucks. We're going to get rid of this right away. So what happens? At 8, we get Falling Sword. Falling Sword is extremely good. You use it, does a lot of damage, then you can teleport to it. At level 15, we get our Pony. How sweet it is. All you got to do is get to level 15, and you literally become God. And then at level 20, you get Consecration. It's a godly AoE skill. So you've got the best primary. You've got your spinning shield. You've got your pony to move around. Got your Consecrate to AoE everything down. When you land with your pony, drop the Consecrate. And Falling Sword is an additional AoE and a teleport. You're going to be absolutely dominant, okay? So that is how you will level up. So when you're leveling up, you get to choose a Battle Pass legendary. If they don't change this, I think it's Pavis of the 10 Wings is what you want. Yes. So you want Spinning Shield. It's going to give you the Spiraling Spinning Shield. Maybe not quite as good as the single target one, but if you can't find that, then definitely take the Pavis and you'll be able to... Actually, the single target one is right here. So both of these are good. The Pavis is going to give you more AoE, and I think this one's going to give you more single target. Whichever one you're struggling with more, either of these are good. I'm pretty sure it's Sinkhole that gives you the stationary one. And that's pretty much going to take you all the way to 60. So now what are we going to do in Challenge Rifts? Now remember, Challenge Rifts are the most difficult game mode where you're on your own. Well, you're going to notice the pattern here. A lot of the stuff is going to look the same. It's Punish, Pony, Consecration, Falling Sword, and Spinning Shield. It's literally exactly the same thing that we were using for leveling. So it's just a function of finding all of the critical legendary powers. So this one's going to buff Falling Sword. This one's going to be, again, remember the Sinkhole one that I told you to take earlier for single target? This is going to help you do your single target damage. Here, your pony lasts 30% longer. Another thing is your pony is going to hit them with fire, etc., etc., etc. So the nice thing is for Challenge Rifts, you don't have to actually change anything when you're playing by yourself. But when you're going to be in groups, now all of a sudden you got to start to bring in some of those buffs. So the Holy Banner is going to give the party a massive, massive damage increase. And the Conjuration of Light, you can either take the one that protects them, or remember that legendary that we looked at earlier that makes everybody burn them alive? You can take that as well. So don't downplay how godly you are at supporting people in groups, right? And you're always going to be ahead of everybody. You've got a pony. You're going to be leading the charge, dragging everything together, setting it all up, laying your banner down. The other teammates are going to arrive. You're going to buff them. And they're going to absolutely love you. They're going to be like, these Crusaders are godly. I never want to go anywhere without my little Crusader. So that's the basic idea for the build in Challenge Rifts. When we go to Dungeons, you can see, again, it's essentially the exact same thing as the group Challenge Rift builds. You're going to be a support. Right ahead with your pony. Drop the banner, put up your Conjuration of Light, the buffs, start punishing, and throw your Spinning Shield at the boss. You'll have teammates, right? You're going to have the Demon Hunters and the Necromancers who are going to come in, gobble up those buffs, and just detonate the bosses. You guys are going to be the ultimate team. Feels good to have everybody wanting to have you on their team, right? Okay, so what about if you're playing solo? If you're playing solo, it looks to be exactly the same that we're doing in leveling, right? So the leveling guide is the same as the solo Challenge Rift guide, is the same, it's pretty much the same skills. Pony, Falling Sword, Consecration, Spinning Shield. And you might be saying, oh, this is like the same crap all the time, right? I mean, it pretty much is. But remember, this is true for a lot of builds in Diablo Immortal, a lot of classes. There just isn't that much diversity in the game yet. I'm sure there will be new skills and legendary powers and things that really shake things up. And one thing is, I know that Blizzard is always monitoring what skills are people using, what skills are overpowered, and they're balancing it a little bit more. So I expect to see some of the lesser used skills buffed, and maybe we'll get some more interesting build diversity coming up. And finally, the PvP build from the beautiful painting that I made. Let's take one more moment to appreciate what a godly artist I am. I guess I should have given this looks like a mailbox here. Let's just make it a mailbox. How do I make a mailbox? A red flag up here. It looks more like a mailbox than a horse. Pony, Condemn. Now, Condemn can bring people in. Anything that you can do to crowd control the enemy is going to really hurt them as an interrupt or a delay for enemies running away. Falling Sword is for mobility. Spinning Shield, you can do the spinny stuff, make it spin around you. One thing that I forgot to mention, I apologize, is which sets are good for the Crusader. So this Windloft thing, it gives you massive movement speed, and then it increases your damage done, and it gives you a shield where you're immune to damage 5 times. So it essentially lets you pony in peace and just destroy everything. Looks like we're going with the pony stuff again. And now when you're doing the support build, you can take 4-piece Vithu's Urgus. That's a very weird name. Increases the beneficial durations by 30% and increases the target attack speed by 30%. Okay, so you're, again, the ultimate support. And then all continual damage and persistent ground damage is increased by 15%. Just going to help, again, support the entire group. I think those are the only 2 set combinations that are ever really used. Yeah, it's the 4 and 2-piece there, and Windlofts, and you don't have any set bonuses leveling up. So, glad I caught that for the set items, and that's pretty much it. So, in summary, the heart and soul of the Crusader is the pony. They do massive AoE damage. They give godly buffs. They're super fast. They can stay alive. They have very, very bad single target damage. And that kind of sucks, right? Because you do these big raid bosses, you do a dungeon where anybody can mow down the trash, but then you get to the boss, and it takes so long for the Crusader to kill the boss without that stationary spinny shield thing. But overall, pound for pound, I think pretty much any rational person who has played has Crusaders as the best overall class. They're crazy good. There are some nerfs coming to Pony, which are very warranted, but I still expect them to be the very best class. I still think they're going to be godly. So, I hope this inspires some of you to play Crusaders. I gotta be honest, I love having Crusaders on my team, and I hate having Crusaders on the other teams, so I expect to see a lot of you getting on the pony and trampling everybody down. Thank you.